Hi there everybody, it's UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator Halsey here from slimandstylish.stampingup.net. Thank you very much for joining me today. I was looking at the Easter Bunny stamp set on my shelf and it looked a bit lonely. It was in the old mini catalogue, it's carried over to the annual, and I thought I'm probably not going to be using that until Easter next year. And then as I was looking at it, I was like, well, why not? Because it's really cute and it's got lots of bits in that can be used for other projects. So this is my alternative use for it card today. I'm going to be using the floral piece and also the butterfly, and I'm picking out this sentiment here as well. And I'm going to be creating a card that is simple and easy, but is definitely not an Easter card. So hopefully if you do have this stamp set, it'll encourage you just to use it a little bit more, because it really is a lovely stamp set. So I'm just popping all of these onto blocks now. And I did start off a little bit confused. I knew that I wanted to do some masking, so I picked up my trusty Post-it notes to use those. We do also have our masking paper as well, but I hadn't got any of that, so I was using Post-it notes, which I feel comfortable doing if I'm not masking a massive part. Okay, and if I'm only going to need a little bit of it that's sticky. Now what I decided to do was measure the sentiment, which was 3 centimetres. So I've stuck this at 3 centimetres on my trimmer, and I'm just cutting it so that we have a 3 centimetre strip. Then I went to my card, which was 10.5 centimetres by 14.8, and putting this in the centre so that I could stamp around it. As I was sticking it, I wasn't happy. First of all, I thought it wasn't straight. I tried using the grid paper to line it up, and even when I stuck it, I still thought, is that straight? I'm really not sure about it. So I contemplated doing myself another 3 centimetre strip and putting it all the way along the middle. But instead what I decided to do was measure the Post-it note, which was 3 inches, and cut the cardstock down to 3 inches and make it a thin strip. So this was very much a change in direction, but the initial thing of masking and stamping around it stayed the same. It was just a thinner piece of cardstock. So sort of towards the top part, just above sort of halfway, I've stuck down my Post-it note and I'm using that as my mask. So I'm going to be using Memento ink because I'm going to be using my blends on this card to colour in. And I'm stamping down this floral piece in the centre towards the middle, and then at the bottom, both edges. Okay, so that I just get a little flash of it at the bottom. And then I'm going to be using the butterfly in the gaps to pop that one in as well. Now I'm not going mad on the whole stamping around the mask. I could have covered the whole thing, but I'm leaving it like that, 3 stamps of each. And then I'm just going to peel the mask off, and it's going to leave me this lovely strip for me to put my sentiment in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my black Stampin' Write marker, and I'm going to be using the sort of pen end, and I'm just going to draw myself a straight line across so that it actually looks like I've put a banner on it, even though it is 1-dimensional and it's not 2-dimensional. And I really love that effect. And how cool is that? You could have that at the top of a card, you could have it on your insert, so you could put your sentiment in the middle. You know, it doesn't have to be a front of a card thing there, and you could have it as wide or as thin as you liked. So for colouring it in, I'm using Lost Lagoon, dark and light on the leaves. Starting off with a dark, and then I'm going to be merging in the light. For the rest of the card, I thought to myself about using sort of a pink shade. I was very tempted to go down the Fresh Freesia and go purples, to be honest, but I didn't. I went with the pinks, and was quite glad I did in the end. I thought it all complemented each other. So I used Flirty Flamingo on the flowers, and that's the rolly type flower in the middle, the bigger one. And I just picked up the light Flirty Flamingo, put that around the whole thing, and then I just did some dark around the centre parts. Okay, so there's the dark just going along the actual sort of where the shading is on the set, and then just using the light to blend that all in together. Now for the other flowers, I just used one of the blends rather than 2, because it's a small image and it didn't really need much colour to go on it to make an impact. So I've used light Calypso Coral. I missed a leaf. Light Calypso Coral. I also used light Pool Party on the other flower. And then in the centres, I came across and I used light wild wheat, which I fell in love with. I didn't think I would love it to start off with, but I do. I enjoy using it. It's like a goldy brown. And I know a lot of people aren't that keen on it, but for me, I'm a fan. And I also used it on the spray as well, so it just gave a little bit of brightness towards the bottom and the top of the card as well. I quite like this colour. I feel you're going to be seeing it quite a lot. And then for my butterfly, I just coloured this over in light lemon lolly, and I just basically thought it was best to stick like that and not make it too complicated, because the flowers were already the focal point and looked awesome. So I just coloured those in, and that was pretty much the blending done. So then all I needed to do was get my sentiment, and with a Memento ink, stamp it in the middle. The hardest part of this was making sure it was lined up, because obviously if I got this wrong, I'd have to restart the whole card again, but it just fits so perfectly and so easily. So now that my main panel's done, I'm going to mount this onto some basic black cardstock. So this cardstock is the same length as my card, but it's not the same width, because it's, all of my card is generally cut to 14.8 by 10.5. So I'm going to stick this down with just a small gap on the left-hand side, and then I'm actually going to cut the other side so that it matches, so that we get a panel that has the same mounting on both sides, but you can't see the black from the top or the bottom, and I quite like it like that. And then I'm going to grab my card base. These are standard card bases that I use. I just cut my A4 card in half and then score it in half again, and you get an A6 card base, and I'm just going to stick that on top using my Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to pop it towards the middle as well, so it just looks like a proper panel in the middle of the cardstock. And that is pretty much all the work that has gone into this card, and I love it. So much for the Easter Bunny stamp set just being sat on my side. I think I might do a few more using these stamps. I'm using my metallic enamel effects in the black just to add a bit of embellishment around the side. I haven't put loads because I really just like the neat nature of this card. Someone at work always used to say to me that white space is your friend, and I definitely feel it is in cards like this. And there we go. Card finished. What do you think? Do you ever look at stamp sets that are predominantly used for one thing and think I can do it at another time of year? Let me know which ones. And here's the finished project. Thank you for joining me. I do hope that you enjoyed the video. Everything I've used today is available from slimandstylish.stampinup.net. If you did enjoy the video, please do drop me a like or leave me a comment. And if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe and come back for more content. I also have an Instagram page that I'm trying to grow at the same time. It's @slimandstylish, and every like or follow helps. Thanks everybody for joining me. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day. Bye.